Joining us now via Google Plus Hangout, it's endurance artist David Blaine. And we've also got our all-star YouTuber panel joining us, Olga Kay in studio, hey. Tyler Oakley, and Nerdist, Justin Willman. Welcome, everyone, to this very special live chat event. Now, let's start off with you, David, of course, the man of the next 72 hours, really. What was the origin of this stunt? What inspired you to do this?
There's this toy that they used to sell at the Sharper Image, and it's a plasma ball. So you touch the side of it, and the electricity comes off, well, the static electricity comes off to your fingertips from the center. And I always loved that, and I wanted to create that where I would be in the center of it, like when I did the water tank at Lincoln Center, and people could actually interact. So I imagined this sphere with the static coming off to the people's fingers as they touched it, but in research I found that it would have to be a vacuum. One of the people I love that I put on my poster 5 years ago as a hidden little feature on the bottom of the decade poster was Tesla. So I started thinking about this idea and fantasizing about it, but had no way of actually putting it together because it was extremely ambitious. And then I was at a dinner at my lawyer's house, Ken, and the guy next to me was a guy named Johan who works with Intel. And just doing what I do, I stole his watch and was doing magic and stuff. And he wasn't offended. He said, "What else can you do?" And I told him that there's this idea that I had that I would love to do. And he said, "Well, do you think this really cool computer to do it? It's this really light computer called an Ultrabook, and how could you?" I started thinking, well, with this, maybe I could stay awake for a long time and start really small and just try to keep awake and then I realized that maybe we could build that dream that I had, but make it really big, use Tesla coils, and have people actually be in charge or in control, so therefore the interactive part of affecting the environment. So it started with a little idea, and it became this overly ambitious idea that Intel got behind, which is anybody can interact through the computers to affect the environment I'm in, which is basically me standing in the middle of a lightning storm. For protection, I'll have a Faraday suit on, which should work, although last night my head hit the back of it and a lightning bolt, an arc hit my head, and it felt like getting punched by Kimbo Slice in the back of the head, where literally I was knocked out for a second, but we had to shut off.
That's scary. That's scary stuff right there. Now we have a ton of amazing people here to ask you some questions live. Let's start off with you, Tyler Oakley.
Sure. Well, I guess my biggest question is, are you worried about giving control of the machine over to random strangers? Do you think they're going to be easy on you, or what do you think?
That's the fun part. I love that people all over the world can actually affect the environment and can do whatever they want. I know, obviously, because it's in New York City and it's very loud, they'll have to keep it not too crazy at all times, but when people are there actually visiting, and it's, it's anybody can come, and there's obviously it's free to the public, and when they get on those bases, they can actually, control whatever they want. So there's hidden codes. If they type like DB, it becomes really strong, but there's lots of things that were hidden in all the different algorithms that we made. So there's a lot of cool things that they can do, and I'm excited about that.
That's crazy. What kind of safety precautions do you need to take for a stunt like this?
Well, the difficulty really for me, besides, being in an environment that a human shouldn't be in, the difficult part is really being, standing in one place for 72 hours. You have to keep moving or else the blood pools in your feet and then you'll black out. So that'll end the stunt, obviously. I have to stay awake. There's no food, which that's easy for me. Just have liquids. And then there's worries, if the brightness and the UVC, which is normally in the ozone layer, it stops it, the UVC, and we just get UVA and UVB. UVC is really dangerous. So being exposed for that amount of time, we have to create some sort of a layer, and nobody knows what it's going to actually do, because 72 hours or more in an electromagnetic field can do many different things to to anything, to the brain, and we don't know. So there's a lot of unknowns there.
Yeah, well, Olga here is shaking her head. So what are you thinking here?
Okay,
What do you have to ask?
You know, I come from a circus background,
Yeah.
and I've juggled many things, but I never felt like I should electrocute myself while I do it, just for fun. So I guess my question to you is, what is your biggest worry, and what does it feel like inside the machine? Do you feel a little safe, or what if something happens after those 72 hours? What do you do then? What happens to your career?
Well, that's a good question, actually. So let's start with what you said about how does it feel. And, you know, recently I did this thing where I went diving with the great white sharks. And it's hard to explain, but when you're in a part of nature that you don't belong, that your brain has, through evolution over, 1.5 million years, has told you to stay away from these animals with these crazy teeth while you're underwater. But when you're actually there, it's almost like otherworldly. It's like an experience that you could never describe. So when I first went to Austin to meet the kids, the engineers and musicians, architect that put this together, I stood in the middle of the testicles and I had his metal suit on. And it was like being in the middle of a lightning storm, but feeling protected. So it was really beautiful and really amazing, especially from the inside. So the feeling was addictive almost, pushing it to the point of 72 hours. I don't know where that'll take me, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get there, but I'm going to try my hardest and give it my best. And then after this, I'm going to build a normal magic show and just do that and take it across the country. So
Definitely. Now let's go to Justin in the Google Plus Live Hangout.
Thanks, Shira. What's up, David? Well, first off, as a Magic fan and magician myself, we're excited that David Blaine is back on TV.
Woo!
Super stoked.
Yeah.
Justin's an old friend of mine, so he's just being nice.
Well, I'm being sincere. So, I mean, I'm curious. For me, I think the most intimidating thing would be not sleeping for 72 hours. I'm just curious, how do you prepare to stay awake for that length of time? Is it old hat at this point?
That's actually a good point, because when I was in the block of ice, which I always considered the most difficult thing I've ever done, and I said there's nothing in the world that I would ever do that for again, anything like it even. This one's worse. What got me in the ice was the uncomfortable environment. So that was ice, but it was like an igloo effect. It wasn't pressing my skin, and it was a warm November. So the air being pumped through was 68 degrees. So the worst part of the ice was the cold radiation, but the air was kind of protecting me on some level, although it did create those cold drops, which slowly drove me crazy. But I think if this was torture, it would be the most effective torture, because number one, you're kept awake the entire time. It's a very noisy and very bright environment, which breaks the circadian cycle, all that stuff. And it's also, you have to stand up in one place. And while you're standing, you're wearing, almost 30 pounds of chainmail. So after, 6-7 hours, it starts to become kind of brutal. And at the end of the ice, I was hallucinating because my brain went on its own. Because what happens is your brain's trying to tell you that you need to go to sleep, because your brain needs sleep to build the immune system, to REM, everything that we need and that we're programmed to use. So the brain is trying to convince you to go to sleep, but the other half of you is fighting to stay awake. So it's like your willpower against your brain, and it becomes really problematic and really difficult. So that was the scariest thing I ever went through. And this is a more harsh environment than the ice was, and it's also a much longer period of time, meaning the extra 10 hours will seem like an extra 10 years probably.
David, a lot of people might be wondering, listening to this, like, why? Why do you put yourself through this? What's the point of doing this stunt?
That's a good question, and the best answer that I could give it is, I have friends that like to run marathons, and I train with them, but I'm not going to run a marathon. That's their thing. I'll get destroyed by them. But they run marathons, and when I'm training with them, it's so fun to achieve new goals and to push yourself to do things that you weren't able to do previously. So like for this stunt, I had to lose 45 pounds, so I had to drop the weight, I had to run really hard, I had to build up my conditioning, and I have to achieve a goal that's very difficult. And at the end of the day, it's not really achieving the goal, it's that journey getting there. So it's like if you want to climb a mountain, it's not getting to the top, it's like that impossible object, and then the training, the time, the courage, the risks, the failures, all that stuff is what's the amazing part of everything. So that's kind of the impetus, except I think it up in a dream, and then I'm like, okay, how do I do it? So that's kind
amazing. Well, we're going to get one more question from everyone here. So Tyler, what do you have to say?
Well, we were wondering, what are you going to do right before you get into the machine on Friday night? Like, what's going to be your ritual, or what's something that's going to put you at peace of mind? What do you think you're going to do?
Give my daughter a little kiss on the forehead.
Oh.
Precious.
No, but like really, what do you do though, like leading up to that? Do you take a nap? Like, what are you doing now? I mean, are you worried about, do you need to take care of yourself? Obviously.
Do you touch rubber?
What
Just in case?
What I've been doing is drinking a lot of liquid, so I'm not dehydrated, because I stopped eating food a week and a half ago, so I won't have any solids in me. And keep hydrated, obviously. So I'll be drinking a lot of liquids, and I'll be trying to bank sleep tonight. I can't bank sleep, but I don't want to deprive myself of sleep, because then you have to recover the next day and it gets worse and worse. So I'm going to be trying to focus and relax and get ready in a simple way, the best that I can.
Definitely. Olga.
Yeah, I guess I want to know, have you rehearsed this many times at home with your friends?
Well, here's the best part. We haven't rehearsed this for over a couple of hours, because every single time things that were horrific went wrong and stopped it. Including last night was my first rehearsal in location. And like I said, one of the arcs whacked me in the head. So it was like getting punched in the head by the strongest guy you know while you're not ready. So yeah, we haven't had much rehearsal time. So tonight we're going to rehearse a little bit. And then tomorrow I'm kind of going to go with everything that I've put into it and just try my hardest, fight my best, and try to get through it.
Yeah, that is comforting to hear. Justin, last to you.
But the distractions are good. So like everybody can interact, people can write, I can respond, people will come visit, and lots of friends are coming in to support this. So for me, that's one of the best things. It's like seeing faces of people that I haven't seen in so long, or surprise visitors and things like that. So that's a nice distraction to help get through it, to achieve the final goal, hopefully.
Definitely. Let's lastly go to Justin with a question.
Hey, David. So, David, I know from hanging out with you that there's nothing that you love more than just doing magic for people wherever, whenever. So I feel like, your endurance stunts do so well as publicity vehicles that like people kind of just start to think of you in that way and let that sometimes overshadow your skills as a magician. And I'm just curious, in the long run, what you really want your legacy to be. Do you want it to be David Blaine, the endurance artist, or David Blaine, a magician?
I just want to be remembered as a guy that brought magic to some people, to the feet, So some people get it, some don't. Some think it is magic, some think it isn't, some think it's all deception. I mean, I think that's all part of it. So I like the idea of just being able to do what I think is magic to as many people as I meet and encounter and come across. So I don't really think of it in that way specifically, but it's just a guy that's bringing magic out there.
Well, thank you so much to David Blaine for joining us. I know he's so busy right now getting ready. You can watch all the action live starting tomorrow night at youtube.com/electrified. Thanks to Intel, of course, also for powering that.